Thank you very much, and I'd just like to welcome all our members to this video presentation. A presentation to wish our members all the best for Christmas and the holiday season, but also an opportunity to members to meet Stephen Roberts, our new CEO. Stephen's now been here for 2 or 3 months, and we thought it might be an opportunity to hear a little bit about Stephen's background and also some of Stephen's thoughts about Kew Golf Club and moving forward. So I just wonder, Stephen, if we could just start by you perhaps giving us a little bit of your background in terms of personal stuff, family stuff, but also golf background and work background.
Sure, thanks Peter. So I live in Woodend, just near Mount Macedon with my family, my wife Lauren, children Jack and Eliza. Jack's a very keen golfer, he's a 14-year-old, he and Eliza are at a local school. I've been a very keen golfer all my life. I've been playing at Metropolitan for something like 33 years. During that time I've represented the club in both junior and senior pennant. Didn't play very much golf for about 10 years after our children were born, but starting to play again now with my son Jack. In terms of my work life, I've always worked in golf clubs since I finished at university. My first role was at Commonwealth Golf Club in an administrative role there. And since that time I've worked at Long Island Country Club. I was assistant manager and then general manager there some time back now. I was then at Greenacres briefly for about 12 months before I moved to RACV, where I was involved in their club and resorts division. It was a really exciting time to work at RACV. When I started, I think there were 4 or 5 club and resort properties, and by the time I left the organisation we had I think 11. So I had a lot of involvement with a lot of those facility purchases and redevelopments, which was a really exciting time to be with the organisation. For the last 5 years I was general manager at Hidden Valley Resort in Wallen, just near Kilmore, north of Melbourne. And that was a multifaceted golf facility, had a golf course, a beautiful new clubhouse which was constructed in 2018, and a townhouse accommodation, pool and gym, and also had an adjacent retirement village. So I spent a little bit of time managing the retirement village there also, as the company that owned the facility are retirement village operators. So yeah, so I love golf. I've really enjoyed playing, many of the great courses of certainly Victoria and Australia, and had some very memorable trips overseas as well. Probably my favourite being a trip to Scotland back in 2012, which I guess for me really provided some interesting context on golf generally, and playing some of the great courses, but also it was really interesting for me to see how deeply golf is ingrained in the Scottish culture. So that was a real highlight for me.
Great, thank you. And Kew, I think you started early October, so it's now 2.5 months. Just wonder if you could give us your early impressions of Kew, and is it what you expected? But also perhaps some of the immediate issues you bumped into in this early month or two.
Sure. So, well, my initial impressions, one thing I forgot to add in my previous comments was I was a junior member at Kew Golf Club back in the mid-1990s. So I guess coming back, and I hadn't played here really since that time. So my observations are the course is terrific. The clubhouse is really lovely. I think we can do some things around the edges just to tidy up the presentation. The members have been nothing but welcoming. I've been really delighted to meet a lot of the members. Still working on remembering names, but I'm getting there. the members have been incredibly welcoming towards me. I think my observation is that the members are generally pretty satisfied with how the club's been running, and that's testament to current and previous boards and leadership of the club. And I'm just really excited to be working at a club that's already doing really good things, but also has a healthy financial situation, so we can look to enhance that further in the coming years. In terms of challenges, I guess the key challenges I've faced since arriving have been a bit of turnover of key staff members. So we had our golf and communications manager depart 2 days after I arrived, and our functions manager leave about a month or 6 weeks after I arrived. So try not to take that personally. But I guess what it does is it's given an opportunity to get hands on early and learn how a lot of the processes around the club work, which I think will stand me and our leadership team in good stead into the future. But I suppose it has also been a little bit distracting initially, because we've been focused on keeping the day-to-day operations running, and I'm certainly wanting to focus on more strategic items such as planning for the future for the club.
And there's been a couple of key appointments. Do you just want to mention them as well?
Yeah. We've been delighted to have some great applicants for the couple of roles we've recruited since I started. So, been really pleased to appoint Dan Marshall as our manager of golf and communications. So Dan was well known to many, as he'd previously been working with our pro Simon Anglis in the golf shop, helping to manage Simon's business. And so Dan's well known to many members. He's a terrific guy, and I think has a lot of great skills that are aligned to what we need for this role. So Dan started with us in the past couple of weeks and is already having a really positive impact. The other role is we did change up our, formerly we had a functions manager role. We have adjusted that slightly to be a bit more all-encompassing of food and beverage. So we've appointed Isabel Royer to the role of food and beverage manager. So Isabel's been flat out. She started with us during our busiest function season during November. Isabel's background is in food and beverage and in clubs, so her skills align really well with what we need. Isabel's previously worked at the Athenaeum Club and also the Australian Club in Melbourne, and she's looking forward to things quietening down over Christmas so that we can really get on with training and making some changes to our food and beverage service, which I think will be really well appreciated by members.
I think with Dan's move from the pro shop to the club, we've been very conscious of looking after Simon in the pro shop, but I understand he has an appointment that will be starting in January that sounds quite exciting.
Yeah, I think that's right. Simon was sad to lose Dan, but very supportive of his opportunity with us. We certainly, we made sure that we worked closely with Simon, and he's been very helpful in making sure that golf operations continued to run smoothly while we didn't have a person in that role. And Simon is extremely excited about his new appointment, who I understand starts early in the new year.
Great. I'll just take an opportunity now. We've been talking about staff, and I'd just like to mention to our members our staff Christmas fund. I think we're blessed with staff at Q, ground staff, admin staff, hospitality staff, and it'd be great if members could support that staff Christmas fund. I think there's an opportunity to make donations at the office, but there's also an opportunity to make donations online. So it'd be great if all our members could help staff out by contributing to that fund.
Thanks, Peter. I agree with that and fully support it. We have made a few changes to how that fund will be allocated this year. So it applies to members of staff who have been with us for six months or longer. And we've also made some changes to the way it will be allocated so that all of our full-time staff receive the same amount based on the total that we receive in that fund. So I think they're really positive things that will reward all of our team. In terms of our casual and part-time staff, they'll receive a pro rata amount based on how many hours they've been working with us.
Great. Then just looking forward, we're moving into 2024. Just want to mention a couple of the main things you'll be working on next year.
Yeah, so initially very much looking forward to making some enhancements to our food and beverage offering. So that includes reviewing of wine lists and menus, making sure that we have all of that information available, and so it's easy for members to find when they're up in the bar area. We'll be working with our head chef and food and beverage manager to review all of our menus and wanting to make some subtle changes there. Also looking at our Nine and Dine program and our social program for next year as well. So they're important things to get right before we release the new syllabus in January. Beyond that, I guess strategically, I'm working with you and the board on the course enhancement plan, and certainly with our course superintendent, Cameron. And also we've just started a working group to look at the practice facilities, and we're certainly hoping to enhance that area. So a lot of planning's happening there. On top of that, our current strategic plan, which has been in place for the last 4 or 5 years, expires in 2024. So we'll be after our AGM in May, we'll then be looking at establishing a new strategic plan for the club. And I think that provides a really good opportunity to have a look at everything we're doing and determining what's important and what's going to keep the club really running well into the future. So there's some of the things we've got coming up.
That's great. I think Stephen's been fantastic at getting out, meeting members, and I'm sure many members have already met you, but I think you'll continue to try and meet as many as you can. And I think that's been a very helpful introduction about you, but also your thoughts about us going forward. And finally, I'd really just like to say on behalf of Stephen, myself, but the whole board, we wish our staff and all our members a great Christmas and a happy holiday period.
Absolutely, yeah, enjoy the festive season. Thank you.